Hey, what's going on YouTube friends and family, and welcome back to my channel, The Real Estate Real. I'm your host Tyler, and today what we are doing is we are discussing pre-owned homes versus new home builds and how they compare to one another and how you should make the decision on which one you actually want to purchase and buy. So without further ado, let's jump right into it and get to talking about it. Alright guys, so the first thing that I want to tell you about the new and pre-owned subject is that a lot of what I'm going to tell you about is personal preference to your own options. So one option, a new home build, might not have the same option that a pre-owned home has, but that doesn't mean that there's not a lot of give or take between them both. So obviously weigh out what you think is best for your scenario and where you want to live at the time, and we can go from there. So with that being said, the first thing that I want to tell you about new home builds is that a lot of people love buying a new home build for the simple fact that a lot of new home designers let you pick out your layout depending on how far along in the development process they are in the area. So with that being said, you usually get to pick out the layout of your home depending on where the staircase is at. If it's a two-story home, if they have different options in the home, you could see, which way the kitchen might face. Is it close to the dining room or not? Is it close to the living space or not? Or are they separated? There's a lot of different things and styles you get to choose from when you are selecting a new home build. That also includes cabinet space, not particularly cabinet space, but the color of the cabinetry, as well as the island color, if it's gray or white. Particularly, they don't let you choose too many options like marble, granite. You get to select from a few different options, but that's definitely a con of a pre-owned home, is that you don't normally get to select any of the options of the pre-owned home. But like I said before, there is a lot of give and take between the two. So one thing about a pre-owned home is that you can request for repairs or anything of that option. Your realtor usually negotiates in a way that will be beneficial to the buyer, so that you guys can do some renovations possibly later on if you want. That means if you want to do that island renovation or some of the renovations in the house, typically what I see between any request for repairs is normally $5,000 to $10,000. Normally $5,000 will help you do a lot of things around the house, like pull out the carpet and replace it with wood if that's the case. That is one pro about old homes that new homes don't have particularly, and that is the request for repairs and renovations. But that's another thing when we talk about pre-owned homes as well, that you do have the option to negotiate. And normally during new home builds, you don't have the option to negotiate at all, but they will give you extra incentives during closing, so that possibly you could buy down the interest rate, or sometimes there's incentives towards closing costs. Maybe they'll give you $5,000 towards closing costs, so that takes up a fair share of closing costs. Another thing between the two is that it's a pro and con depending on what time acceleration you want, and that is the paperwork option of the new home build and a pre-owned home build. Because when we're looking at a new home build, they typically have all the paperwork together. You could sign it all in one day. You need to be pre-approved already, possibly, or you get pre-approved through their lending process that they have through the new home developer, which is either Taylor Morrison or Richmond Homes or any of the other number of home builders that you've heard of. That is an option when you have a new home build. I would say that's a pro. You get the paperwork all out of the way at once. But a con might be of a pre-owned home is that when we're looking at pre-owned home, the paperwork can take up to pretty much 30 days during the process, just about, or maybe even longer depending on how long the process goes. The first thing that you're going to want to sign between the buyer and the seller is the residential purchase agreement, saying that we've accepted an offer on the home, and then you go from there depending on the addendums and the request for repairs. So like I said before, it just depends on how fast you want to get these things done. A huge thing for some of the buyers of a new home build is, if you're looking to get in a home in a certain period of time because you have to move for work or anything else, a new home build might not work out for you because the development isn't fully along in the process, so that they could start, you can start the homes are move-in ready. Usually they release move-in ready homes, so to speak, in increments, because the new home builds are in such high demand that you know, people want to move into the home already, and they actually fill up quite fast. So that is one thing about a pre-owned home you don't have to normally worry about unless there's a rent back. So the seller wants to stay in the home for a certain amount of time after he sells the property. That would be the definition of a rent back possibly, or there is already a tenant staying there. But with that being said, it makes it a lot easier to move in a pre-owned home normally in a time frame, a shorter time frame, maybe 1 to 3 months, and that is normally what separates the parties from what they're looking at, if they're looking at a pre-owned home or a new home build. And it usually depends on whether how fast they want to get into the home and wait for the development to be ready. So with all that being said, I think I covered most of the topics that I thought were a great fit to talk about the pros and cons of a new home build versus a pre-owned build. There are a lot of other little things that we can take into consideration, like when you're buying a new home build. There's still construction going on, so there might be a lot of loud noises in the morning sometimes, or the fact that you might not know all your neighbors yet because there's still people moving into the area. So there are a ton of things that you need to take in consideration. And one last thing before I let you go is there are certain finances to new home builds that there aren't normally in pre-owned homes. That one of those is the HOA fee, the homeowners administration fee. Homeowners administration fees can cost anywhere from $40 to $150 on a monthly basis. And what they do is they keep up with the grounds around your home. So that doesn't mean necessarily the lawn in your home, but it means like if there is a gate in front of your home that opens and closes, if that gate ever needs service, then they do things of that nature, I believe, as well as whether there's bark or bushes around the place that need trimming and things of that nature. Natural groundskeeping to keep up with the curb appeal of the home. Another thing that I need to mention is a Melrose tax. A Melrose tax can be pretty expensive at times, and that ranges from anywhere from $150, and I've seen it as much as $600 on a monthly basis. And what a Melrose tax does is because you are moving into a new area, that means that new parks might have to be built, new schools might have to be built, just new recreation centers in general, just in case you need a community pool or anything of that nature. So what a Melrose would do typically is it would cover any of those being built, or it would help the cost from your paying the Melrose would help to go build some of those things. So those are two cons that we could talk about to being associated with new homes. But with pre-owned homes, normally you don't get those unless you're buying a pre-owned home that is less than 10 years old. So with all that being said, like I told you in the beginning of the video, a lot of it is personal preference, deciding on where you want to go and where you want to live. Obviously, there is reasons why you would want to buy a new home compared to a pre-owned home, and maybe vice versa. So, let me know how you feel about the video below. Leave a comment, let me know, anything you're feeling at this time. If I didn't answer a certain question, leave that question below too, and I would love to answer it. So that is all I have for you guys today. Thank you for watching another video of mine, and of course, tune in and subscribe below, and I love you guys. I'll see you later. Thank you.